My friends, you can't read about push-ups. You have to do them. You can't read or listen to what I'm saying. You have to do it. And that's what got me over the last 3 years into this part of it. I couldn't understand 5 or 6 years ago when I was handing you the keys why you weren't driving that car. And what I ended up realizing was it was all up here. There's a stunning amount of fear in this room about putting out content. How you look, what you're gonna say, what are the comments gonna say? Just a crippling amount of inaction because of the fear of people's opinions that you don't even know. And even worse, opinions of the people you love the most. And so for me, that has become an incredibly important place for me to focus on. So for me, I just have no interest in being half pregnant. I have no interest in being stuck in the middle. There's only two things for me. The macro, which is, why are you living your life based on other people's opinions? And then the micro, what are the tactics, the individual executions that actually get you to what you want? The biggest thing that I would love for this room to start doing is to start really thinking about the notion of being great at producing written words, audio, and video per the 10 platforms so that it's contextual to the platform. I just pushed a lot of you to do LinkedIn. Looking at this room, 11 of you will do it. Of those 11, if you're listening right now, remember this. When somebody's on LinkedIn and going through the content, they're in a business mindset. When they're on Instagram, they're in an entertainment mindset. So the way you convey your message is extremely important. The adjectives you use, the analogies you use, the examples you use, it has to base on the psychology. Every one of us is in a different place when we're on different platforms. You have to pander, you have to be contextual to that. So whatever you have to say about what you're doing, make sure you're being empathetic and strategic to how they're thinking when they see it. That is why I do well on each platform. I strategize around the content in reverse engineering, the psychology, in the same way that I'm trying to do that as I'm on this stage right now. What, for an audience that has so much content that they've consumed for me, can I say right now? It's why I took 40 minutes and switched it, because you can hear this shit every fucking day because I'm consistent as fuck. But what I get to do right now is use the Q&A to be contextual as shit. You just have to start with what else can I give you within the framework of my ecosystem. The reason I built the biggest wine show on the internet in the mid-2000s was I wasn't trying to sell wine, I was trying to educate people about wine. And if I happened to sell wine, I was thrilled. There's nothing, by the way, back to the last thing, there's nothing wrong with being selfish. I'm selfish, I wanna buy the New York Jets. The value though is the punchline. When you slow it down and you play over 50 years, when you give more than you take, you end up with a fuckload. And so what you can do is you can start by asking a question. You can literally go back to your seat right now, take the camera on whatever you're posting on and say, hey, I've been telling you about the frames, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys want from me? What else can I be doing for you? What questions do you have for me? And then read those questions, and that will give you the insight to how you bring value. Okay. I didn't know that I needed to talk about parent and kid dynamics. I just read all the DMs from the parents and the kids, and that led me to having an understanding that there was something there to talk about.
Okay.
Got it?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Gary, Ash Kerwin, how do you disagree with the status quo by raising your audience's heart math without seeming like a know-it-all, a heckler, or a troll?
By ending up being right.
Correct. Thank you for everything
You're
you
welcome.
do, mate.
And that's the punchline, right, to that answer. Like, so many of the things I say at first are pushed against, which I respect. When you're innovating, mate, and pushing against the status quo, people are gonna disagree with you. That's the nature of it. I don't think that I deserve to be right. I just know that if I am right, over time it builds reputation. I get away with a lot more today than I did 15 years ago because of being historically correct. Hey.
G'day, Gary.
G'day.
My name's Ethan. I'm 19. I'm a uni student at the moment, and I've been following you for years now. I love all the stuff you're doing with your Cloud and Dirt, your Empathy Wine,
Thank you.
VaynerMedia, all the stuff. I love how you like diversification really with your
Thank you.
portfolio. My question really was, at this point, I know I'm young and patience is key. I've got a lot of different avenues I like that appeal to different morals and
Makes
things that I
sense.
value.
Okay.
How do you give that 100% to everything? Or, because like I feel like I'm giving 20% to 5 different things to add up to 100.
I'd probably, listen, there's a lot of ways to do this, right? So the way I stay focused is by not being focused. That's my DNA. I need a lot of stimuli, and my big game is if I'm throwing 30 balls in the air, if 8 fall, I don't care about your collective judgment that I had 8 things fail, and I still have 22 balls in the air. That's what works for me. I have tons of people I surround myself who are only good at having 1 ball, and they crush that ball like crazy, and that's amazing too. What I would say for you is you can play both. You can try to go 5 times 20%, see what that does.
Okay.
You may learn during that time that you actually love number 4 and you decide to give that 80% and the others 5.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just thinking at that point, 100, I always got the fear of like, if I go 100%, I'm gonna fuck up. And then you've answered the question before.
You know where it's an issue?
Yeah.
You're thinking.
Yeah, I overthink.
Bro, everybody overthinks. Everybody's so fucking insecure about losing that they think, which makes them never do, which keeps them away from losing.
True.
Reverse it and don't give a fuck about what people think about your loss, and shit gets real fun. I love fucking losing. I do, laughy guy. You're part of a generation that was protected from losing. You need to break the fuck out of it.
Okay.
By recognizing how sweet it is when you succeed on your own terms, how proud they'll be about you. Too many kids struggle with conflict with parents in the short term without realizing that parents always fall into line after you're successful. And by also having the humility that if you're wrong, to admit that you're wrong 20 years from now and adjust. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Listen, everybody at some level, whether they have good parents or bad parents, want to make their parents proud. It's a fucking inherent thing of coming out of somebody's body, right? It is. When I say don't listen to anybody and go quiet, I mean everybody, especially parents, spouses, siblings, especially. But here's the key. When you just said, Gary Vee, I think you're the motherfucking man, where people get caught is they get too high on compliments and too low on insults. Nothing makes me happier than when I read my comments where one post is, Gary Vee, you're just hot air, fuck you, right? And the next one's like, Gary, you're fucking Jesus, you walk on water. And I look at those two, and I'm like, this is why I'm gonna win. I can't hear either of them. Where so many of you are fucking up is you hear the cheering, but you're crippled by the booing. You're addicted to the cheering, but you don't want to hear the booing. I respect both equally, which means I can't hear either. Either you're gonna be right, or they're gonna be right. I feel the way you delivered your sentence that you're gonna be right. I think you need to limit how much you listen to them.